had a gym member ask me a very common question I have with squats, especially with new people, that she's having trouble when she's squatting with weight and the barbell pulling her forward out of position. Focus on what I'm telling you to do, not what I'm not telling you to do. First of all, knees out versus knees straight forward. It's not a badge of honor. Everybody's unique. Squat what feels comfortable for you. There's not one standard format. There's a template that guides everyone to do squats. That's some of the stuff I'll cover, but you need to find what is best for you, your movement pattern, and your structure. And I see this very common with our squat. So once we find our squat stance, whether we're going knees forward, knees out, whatever that is, feet comfortably shoulder width apart, the very first thing that needs to take place is my hips need to hinge back. From this position, I am no longer continuously moving my hips back. If I continue to move my hips back when I squat, what you guys are going to notice is it tends to hinge me over further, getting my chest closer and closer to the ground because I'm continuously pushing these hips back. Ever watch a kid squat? If a kid squats, I watch my toddler, she's 3, she squats like this all the time. If she drops something on the floor, she'll bend down all the way and pick it straight up like this. As adults, we get lazy, we start hinging at the hips and bending over here, okay? This is where the mistakes happen. You get older, now you want to start getting in shape, now it's time you have to learn how to squat. So let's go over that. Again, whatever's your comfortable stance, start from there. The very first thing that's going to take place, guys, on your squat is we have a small hinge to the hips and soft knees. This is our starting position right here, okay? From this position, guys, my hips are no longer going to travel back, okay? I'm going to drop straight down. Here's all I'm going to do, whether it's knees out or knees forward, whatever's yours, it's not a badge, and I'm going to go straight down until my hip crease is below parallel, okay? That is what constitutes as a great and accurate squat. Hip crease below parallel, whether you need the whole myth about knees past your toes, perpendicular knees, shins, all that, irrelevant at this point. All we're focusing on is getting our hip below parallel. So if I hinge, I'm in my start position. What takes place now is a lot of people go back to being adults and we just think, I gotta get lower to the ground. So what they do is they push these hips back as they squat, and it's putting them in a very bad position to the point now, if you notice, I have very perpendicular knees. My hips are all the way back, my chest is going to the ground. I can't get no lower than this. My hip crease is not below parallel, okay? So to fix that, we have to train ourselves so our hip crease goes back and we drop straight down into our squat. My favorite 2 versions of squat therapy is with a wall and with a pole. All right, guys, so the first thing we're gonna use is this wall squat. Okay, now, talk about finding distance from the wall. This is what I like to tell all my athletes. Eventually, you wanna get as close as you can to the wall. So I make them place 1 foot on the wall. They're gonna take 1 foot behind it to their heel, foot closest to the wall. They're gonna bring it out and land in their squat stance, okay? Now from here, I can place a wall ball behind me for safety if I need to add comfort level to that individual. But from here, we're going to start in that starting position with that small hinge to the hips, soft bend to the knees. I'm going to lightly place my hands on the wall. I'm not using it for support. I'm just going to lightly place my hands on the wall. They're just gently going to slide down. As I squat, I'm going to brush my fingertips across the wall until that hip crease goes below parallel. And when I go back up. If I notice my athlete is not having any struggle with this whatsoever, I can bring them in closer so they can work on hip hinge and back. Because you'll notice if I hinge my hips and continuously hinge my hips, I'm going to come into the wall. Okay, that'll make your athlete feel that they're hinging too much and running into the wall. All right, guys, now finally, the other squat therapy drill I like to use is pole squats. I really like this one for individuals who struggle even knowing what a squat should feel like. So what we can do, I can interlock my fingers, get as far stretch as I can here, go ahead and get my squat stance, knees shoulder width apart. From here, guys, I'm going to hinge my hips back as always and squat. But what I can do in this position is I'm pulling on the pole to keep me upright as I fall down, okay? I can use this for stability here, and eventually I can let my athlete let go to see if they have a stable squat. The other thing they could use for this pole squat is I do have athletes, I've seen a lot of athletes do this. I train a lot of jiu-jitsu guys and they really have tight hips. So having them feel what an actual squat should feel like, getting down in there, what we'll have them do is they'll grab a hold of this pole and pull into it. They'll hip all the way out as far as they can and drop. And from here, they scoot in, okay? And I'm putting them into a squat position just so they can see what it should feel like to be in the actual bottom of a squat rather than being all tight above the hips as usual, okay? So we're gonna hold the pole, shoulder width, and drop all the way down using the pole for support. Okay, I can let go, making sure that I have a nice neutral spine, everything's in a nice tight position, and I can also use the pole squats to drop my hips far back and pull myself into a squat to see what these feels like. And of course, guys, there's way more squat therapy videos out there that you guys can find. These are ones that I like to personally use, that I find have benefited myself, my athletes, years after years of training. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. Please make sure you subscribe up here. I'll see you guys in the gym.